What's up, everyone? Welcome to Ready Press Play. I think this is what episode 155? Question mark. I don't know. I
Might
forgot
be
the count.
154. I'll pull it up.
154. 154. I believe. Yeah, you're right. I think it is 154. I am your host, Louis Menchaca. Joining me, as always, as usual, with these annual tradition thingies that we're doing, is none other than Mr. Dan Lima.
AKA the new champ.
You motherfucker. Fuck you. You're already starting shit already, I see.
Yeah.
Uh, yes. For those that were following, we did the prediction game where we were predicted. We had fun. We kind of sort of played fast and loose with like predicting like the announcements. We really didn't really put a lot of effort into those predictions, but we did, however, like really go in on the weeds and like looked at historical data to predict the winners of the actual award categories, the thing that people probably care about the least. But we went in and did that, and yes,
I like
spoilers.
I like how you're trying to undersell it this time when you're probably trying to like overhype it like previous times. Just throwing
Exactly.
throwing that out there.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta like discredit them whenever you gotta discredit the losses and then like overhype the W's. So.
Yes.
But yes, spoilers. Dan did in fact win the winners prediction game, which we'll see. Was it close? Was it a battle? That's what we're gonna find out. Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds
So
good.
yeah. So we don't really have much on the agenda today other than talked about the Game Awards and like the recap and stuff. But I
Mhm.
do want to actually give like a little uh, minor life update that just I completely forgot to talk about last episode. We did life updates and this one just completely like slipped
Mhm.
past me and I don't know why or how I didn't like bring it up. But I actually did another podcast during the year.
Oh my God, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
and so I like
Yeah.
I brought it up and I actually I put the link to the podcast on the YouTube video description. It probably is not on the audio feed description, but if you watch the YouTube video, the link to the other show that I do or that's on a hiatus is it's called Secret Stash. The Secret Stash podcast. It's owned by our composer, Mr. Waz Joel. He decided to do a podcast and it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun, pretty chill. I ended up joining the show around episode 4 or 5. Like I wasn't there in episode 1. I was just sort of like a background producer until finally like I was given the moment to shine and be on camera. And then I was like 2 or 3 episodes into our run. We decided to like basically go on indefinite hiatus. Joel is in fact talking about bringing it back, and we do have at least one episode already filmed and recorded and edited. So if you just follow me on Twitter on the right here, if you're watching the video, it's right below me. If we ever do put out another episode, Secret Stash is back. If it happens, you guys will be the first to know on Twitter or X now, as they call it.
Louis, first, there's something really funny about you announcing being part of another podcast in the same sentence that you're also saying that it's on hiatus and no new episodes coming out. It's almost like announcing a new game and then also saying, by the way, it's delayed or something like that. Um, but for what it's worth, I will say that I did listen to a little bit of maybe like 2 or so episodes. I did not stick with it. I probably should. It was genuinely good, which is a first for a podcast featuring Lewis. So
You asshole. uh, yeah.
obviously that would include us. So I'm not necessarily I don't necessarily mean that, but it was good. I really liked the way that Joel was structuring it and the way that he had the set and everything. I was like, this is genuinely cool. There was like the school, almost kind of underground kind of vibe to it. Like, I almost felt like almost a little throwback in a way. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It felt like it reminded me of watching old like early 2000s movies or something like that. And then like people would get together to start a band in the garage or
Yeah.
something. And it's like
Yeah.
it's like that kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah.
I think he was going for that. I think his that's his apartment, so he made his apartment into a whole ass set. And the
Hmm.
cardboard sign, it was actually sharpied and
Yeah.
stuff. He definitely wants to sort of like reinvent the podcast. He wanted it to be more of a variety show. So we do like
Mm.
skits and performances, and we have like actual like musical guests that come on that Joel has so many connects with, and I think that was actually pretty cool and pretty awesome.
And I
Yeah.
would add that you guys are also doing clips for it, and
Yeah.
the clips were really good.
Yes.
Like the clips were genuinely funny. So even if you don't watch it, but you just go and you watch
The
the
shorts,
clips,
yeah, the
yeah,
shorts
the
were good.
shorts, yeah.
One of my favorite things. Well, first off, Joel apparently has like a huge library of unreleased music and songs that he's created. So every
Hmm.
episode he debuts an unreleased track, and most of the tracks don't even have names; they're not titled. But like, and then like my first episode on where I was like, I was it was an intro and I said like I'm in this bitch or whatever is like how I started, and then like there was this like bass like this like drums like that hit right as I said I'm in this bitch, and it just the music was just like fire, and it was so timed perfectly, because we're wearing headphones when we're recording, and so when Joel plays music we can actually hear the music that was happening. So
Oh.
it was really awesome that it was just almost like timed but purely by accident, and I could hear like the bass drop as I said that. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome setup. That's an awesome setup. Yeah, Secret Stash. Go and check that out. Hopefully you guys get out of the hiatus
Yeah,
soon.
I hope so
Yeah.
too. But at least there's some quality episodes, and they seem to be evergreen. So everyone
Hmm.
that needs chakalaka in their life, there you can find some more of that there. But
Yeah.
anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the actual topic at hand. I got a little agenda. Dan, I want to throw you a curveball. I probably should have said this before we started, but the first thing I wrote on my agenda, I want us to do our PlayStation wrap for the year.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I haven't even looked at mine. I don't even know if I have it. It's should I have gotten this on my email? I can never
Yes.
remember.
There is an email that you can go to, or you can just go to PlayStation Wrap Up on Google, and that's the first thing that comes up. And then you
All
just
right.
sign into your PlayStation account, and then you'll be able to see your goods. And you know, I gotta admit, this is my first time actually seeing a PlayStation wrap up that actually is both disheartening and also accurate at the same time. Because in previous years, when it comes to these wrap ups, my wrap ups have always been skewed because like my nephews would play on my accounts, and sometimes there would be games that I didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
This year, surprisingly, I don't think any of my nephews actually played on my account at all. So
So you have your actual.
yeah, everything is
Yeah.
mine, and because I was unemployed, I played an ungodly amount of Fortnite that I didn't even think I played. And not only did that happen, but like that's only for the PlayStation. I played on 4 accounts this year, so I actually probably played way more than this wrap up is leading on. So yeah.
Yeah, I just went to try to sign into mine, and I'm just having some issues signing in right now, so I'm gonna try to work through this. But you might wanna
I'll
do
start it
yours
off.
first. So,
I'll
yeah.
start. I'll start it off here, and I won't share my screen with Dan, but I guess you guys, for the posts that are watching on YouTube, you can see my screen here. So it says here that I played 8 games in.
8.
Yes, 8 in
Not bad.
2024. Four on the
Not bad.
PS5 and four on the PS4.
I
And
say not bad because I'm preparing the audience to how bad mine probably will be. I'd be surprised if mine said like 3, but we'll see.
it says the very first game that I played was on January 1st, and it was The Last of Us Remastered. And that probably makes sense because at the time, we had this tradition that I had with my nieces where they would come over to my house and they would watch me play games. So we would play games like Until Dawn and stuff like that, where they're like story based narrative games where you can just, the couch person can have just as much fun watching. And so I decided to show them The Last of Us, and they enjoyed it and stuff like that, because I
Oh,
wanted them to
what?
watch the show.
I have questions.
What's
What numbered playthrough was that of The Last of Us 1 for you?
number
It's like
three?
that's got to be what, 3?
Yeah,
Okay.
number three. The next one I got here. Let's see. My top 5 games. 531 hours of Fortnite.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
21 hours of Astrobot at number 2.
Nice.
5 hours of Street Fighter 6, 4 hours of Street Fighter 5, and 2 hours of Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, which just came
Cool.
out. So yeah, kind of it's like three fighting games and then like Fortnite and Astrobot.
Are you still doing your fighting game parties?
Yeah, so Street Fighter 6 and Street Fighter 5, those 5 hours and 4 hours were actually from the fighting game tournament that Dan helped me
Mm.
with. It was called Download Complete, which I am planning on doing Download Complete in 2025, by the way, part two. So that's gonna happen. Um,
I couldn't
and
even remember that was this year, by the way. I was like, that was really this year. Dude, this year has felt crazy to me. Like I was having this realization that we actually ended Ready Press Play less than 2 years ago. Because
yeah,
it was
in
March
April,
or so, April of 2023.
yeah,
So we're still a few months away from it completing 2 years. That feels like a lifetime ago to me.
yes,
I
it
don't know
does.
why. It's just like it's felt like such a long time this year. Like, you know, years keep going by fast because you get old and then time just feels different. But at the same time, when you think of things and you go like, oh man, like that feels like so long ago. Yeah. The you doing that fighting game tournament, that felt like so long ago to
Yeah, but
me.
it was in January, so it was literally the beginning of the year. And also, I'm not going to
Right.
do it in January this year. I
Hmm.
had so many people cancel on me because there were a lot of like birthday parties happening on that weekend, and then
That's
also
right.
there was cold weather, and some people just didn't want to like go out because it was too cold. They'd rather stay in. So I'm probably gonna go for more of a spring, like March, April, like tournament. So,
Hmm.
yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Next up, it says here my gaming style is sharpshooter because I played a lot of Fortnite, and then also Astrobot has shooting
Mm.
mechanics. Um,
Interesting.
let's see here. They do my stats per month. So January 45 hours of Fortnite, February 52 hours. March was 117 hours. God damn it. April 49. May 25. June was only 8 hours of Fortnite. Wow, the summer. I think a lot of historically people don't play Fortnite in the summer because people like are out of school and have shit to do, and I think for me,
Right.
I'm guessing like I must have been busy and actually like living my life, and
Yeah.
not
Like
playing,
touching grass,
touching.
going
Yes,
outside, like yeah.
I was touching
Yeah.
grass. Holy shit! And then I go back to like I bounced back to 52 hours in July.
Hmm.
August was 26. September was 91. 32 in October. 32 in November, and then I'll say to my 2 hours in Marvel vs. Capcom in December. So I haven't actually. That actually makes sense because December 1st was my first day on the job, so I actually haven't played Fortnite all month,
Hmm.
surprisingly. So the only game that I did play was Marvel vs. Capcom. So yeah, it seems to me that March was like my first real month where I was unemployed because I got let go in February, and so in March I just went hard on that Fortnite 117 hours.
Yeah. Oh, that's almost like it's like somewhere between a part-time job and a full-time job if you think about it, because it's like 100.
And 17
It,
hours. So like a 40-hour
it's
work
about
week.
30.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's about 30 hours a week. Yeah, because 30 hours a week for 4 weeks would be 120. So,
Damn.
uh, yeah, yeah.
And then on my entire time of playing PlayStation all year, I wrapped up 565 hours, 560 on the PS5, and 5 hours on the PS4. Also,
Right.
life update: my PS4 died earlier this year, back in October.
Really?
It's dead. Like, I can't
Was it
repair
an
it.
was it an OG PS4?
Yeah, launch day
Yeah.
PS4. It was my baby. I actually kind of felt really bad because I kept the original box that the PS4 came in, and so when I
Mm.
was packing the PS4 back into its original box, it felt like I was packing it in a coffin. But yeah, no, I had the PS4 apparently like it really needs a new motherboard. I guess the motherboard cracked or something from the heat. It was too much like hot and cold, like
Wow.
whenever it expands and it contracts and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So basically, I need a whole new motherboard, and the only way to get a motherboard is to harvest it from another PS4. And so
Mm.
the cost to repair, the cost to actually do that, any
It's the
repair
cost
shop
of another console.
is more
Yeah.
than the cost of a used PS4. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am now between a rock and a hard place because I don't really need a PS4 because I have
Mm,
a PS5 that plays everything. But
yeah.
also, like, I kind of want a PS4 that I don't need. So if I'm gonna get a used PS4, I'm thinking about just waiting for the price of the PS4 Pros to drop even more because they're already cheap. But I want it cheaper. I want it
You know
like
what's wild?
80
The
bucks.
PS4 is probably the console that is the hardest to justify like doing that with, because
Why?
with something like, all right, so for like if you look at Nintendo consoles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every console has different controllers. Every console, like they weren't always backwards compatible with the predecessor. Even when there was backwards compatibility, there were things that were different about it.
Mm.
So like when it comes to like the Wii U, for example, it's backwards compatible with the Wii, but the Wii had features that the Wii U didn't, right?
Yeah.
And like such as like you can plug in the GameCube
GameCube.
controllers
Yeah.
to the Wii as just an example. But when it comes to like the PS4, like does the PS4 have anything that the PS5 don't, you
There's
know?
like maybe 3 or 4 titles that are only work on the PS4.
Okay.
And they're very like developer specific. I guess the developers could patch it
Mm,
if they wanted to, but they don't because they may be like non-existent anymore. And then I think there might be one PSVR game that doesn't work on the PS5. But
interesting.
but you need an adapter, which Sony provides an adapter for free if you click on their website, and then they'll ship you an adapter for the PSVR, which I got before I even got my PS5. I just haven't actually played PSVR because apparently I'm too lazy to set that up. But yeah,
Lewis, let me ask you this. Do you want me to share screens for my wrap up?
no, do not do that.
Okay.
It'll mess up my OBS setup.
Oh, the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right, cool. I'm glad I didn't just do it
Yeah.
then.
But let me just
Uh,
wrap it up real quick. I had 64 trophies, 1 platinum, and let's see here. I think that's it. Yeah, that was my last of the stats. So yeah, I give it over to you, Daniel.
all right, sounds good. So I just got it here. I'm gonna see it live as I go through this, so it'll
Reaction.
surprise me just as much as everybody else. It says Daniel Lima joined in 2011. My trophy level is 232. Um, so let's go.
Oh, and
All
I
right.
think at the very bottom of the
Oh
first
shit.
page, it tells you your cumulative total of number of hours played. So uh, it says here
I'll.
that I played 156 games since I started my PSN account.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Okay.
I did not get a chance to see mine. So I'm gonna tell you this. Seems like I played way more than I thought or than I
Okay.
remembered.
Okay.
In 2024, I played 14
Oh
games.
shit. Okay. Okay.
5 on the PS5, 9 on the PS4.
Oh, interesting.
Looks like you like to try a nice variety of games. Your first game of the year was a real thrill ride. Now, my first game of the year, I totally forgot that this was this year. I played and I finished Spider-Man Miles Morales
Oh,
in
okay.
January. So January 7th, that was my first thing.
Wait.
Uh,
If I'm remembering
huh?
this correctly, I think you also played and beat Helldivers too.
I played Helldivers 2 a little bit, but I didn't beat it. I don't even know if you can beat it because it's
Oh,
like an
okay.
online
Okay.
multiplayer game. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
But that will come up here. I really did not play it a lot though, so we'll see how many hours here soon. I feel a little on the spot. I feel like, like it's like, oh, I can't hide my I can't pretend to have more gamer cred than I actually have anymore. All right. So my top 5 games, um the number 1 game was Miles Morales
Okay.
with 14 hours.
Oh.
Just so you know how little I played.
Okay. Okay. All right.
31 trophies, 23% of my playtime. Number 2 was Dragon Age Inquisition with 12 hours. Now, here's the funny thing. I played Dragon Age Inquisition mostly last year, and then I finished it this year.
Okay.
So there was 12 hours left for me to finish.
Okay.
Number 3 is Dragon Age, again, the Veil Guard, 10 hours,
Okay. So
which I started playing last month.
you basically like beat Inquisition to like ready yourself for the Veil Guard.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Uh, Helldivers 2 is my number 4.
Okay.
Now, here's how much time I put into this live service multiplayer game. 6 hours. All right.
Honestly, if you were to add up all of your hours for the entire year, my 1 month of Fortnite will literally just trounce
Yeah,
all
just
of that.
100%. And then my fifth game, um, was Titanfall 2, 4 hours.
Okay.
Um,
That's a
a lot.
throwback. That's a random throwback, by the way.
Yeah,
Just
that's a
FYI.
random throwback.
Yeah.
Three EA games on my top five, by the way.
Not biased at all.
Not biased at all. Uh, all right, let's see what else. Your gaming style. Adventurer.
Hmm.
Action adventure. You
Okay.
spent 55% of your game time dodging danger and picking fights in epic action adventure games. Spider-Man, Dragon Age, I guess those fit that.
Yeah.
Um my calendar, let's go. So we got, let's see how I can summarize this. I basically played Spider-Man in January and February. I played Titanfall 2 in March. I have no data for April. I played Days Gone in May. I forgot about that. I did not finish it. I mean, I must have put less than 4 hours in it, given
Okay.
the top five. Then I guess I finished Dragon Age Inquisition in July. Um, Played Helldivers 2 in August, and then Dragon Age Veilguard in November and December. So I have one, two, three, four. I have 4 empty months in the year. I have
Hmm.
4 months where I did not play anything.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. So, as you can see, I've been on and off of gaming this year, at least on PlayStation.
Fair
I
enough.
did a little bit of Switch. I did a little bit of Switch.
And by the
So,
way, I would have totally had us do the other wrap ups, but Nintendo and Xbox hasn't sent me an email yet for my wrap ups, so that sucks. And the Twitch wrap up that I got an email for was actually a global wrap up, not an
mm,
individual one. So that kind of sucks. Um, but yeah, anything else? Did it tell you your total number of hours for the entire year?
let me try to get to that. Okay, my total hours for the year, 59.
Hmm. Okay. All right. I did
That's
that in
not
a,
that's not that
I
that's
did that
not
in a
that bad.
month. I did
Yeah.
that.
It's roughly
Uh,
like about an hour a week, about an hour a
yeah.
week in
Fair enough.
average
An average.
on the PlayStation. Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly on the PS5, a little bit on the PS4.
Mm,
Uh, Trophies. In 2024, I earned 81 trophies.
nice. No
Not bad.
platinums. No
Not bad.
platinums.
No platinums. No plat- Just
Uh,
one gold. Just one gold. Don't know on what.
I earned
Uh
64 trophies, but one of them was a platinum. So I think you got more, didn't you?
uh wait, say it
I
again?
got 64 trophies this year.
Yeah, I got 81.
Good job. Good job.
I guess because I just played a
Bunch of
greater
more. Yeah.
variety. Yeah,
And
variety of
I'm always
games.
only,
Yeah.
I was probably only limited to like Astrobot, basically. So
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Uh, Curious, what's your lifetime trophy count? It
oh,
says on the bottom of that page.
okay. My lifetime trophy count is 1,450.
Okay, I got 1,387.
Nice. On the bottom of the first page, it should tell you how many games you played for the entire since you started your PSN. I'm at 156 games.
All right, let me look at that. 124.
Nice. Okay.
So we're kind of
Pretty. Yeah.
close,
Yeah.
close-ish. Yeah. All right. Is there anything else here? Let's see. Social stats and take a trip.
Yeah. None.
Uh,
Nothing
yeah.
like. Oh, and there's a code for an avatar, a PSN avatar. So
Cool.
yeah, just FYI.
We didn't talk about this, Louis, but did you see the 30th anniversary like PlayStation theme?
Yes, I love it. Oh, I set mine to
It's so
PS2.
cool. Yeah. I've alternated between different ones, but yeah, the first time I turned it on and I wasn't expecting it. I just went to turn on my PS5 some random day, and then it did the PS1 intro like
Yeah.
with the sound effects and everything, and I was like, "Oh my God." I was so excited out of nowhere.
And then
Um
I hated the fact that whenever they said the update happened, it's for a limited time, so they're gonna update the OS to take it away. Those bastards.
yeah, I know.
Ah.
I really don't like that. Why don't they just leave it? Like just there's no actual reason for why they would need to take it away. They just want to create the sense of scarcity of like or
Yeah.
scarcity of like missing it, right?
You
And
know,
it's
for
like,
the 20th anniversary, the PS3 and the PS4 got like an OS like background that was permanent, so I kept
mm,
those. I don't know if you remember those or not. They were like gray PlayStation 1 looking ones.
I don't remember
It's
anymore.
yeah, but yeah. Anyways, that was fun. That's a fun little wrap up
Yeah.
to the year. So now on to the actual topics, the real topic at hand, which um, let's get into the actual game awards. I want to first do like the little the announcements first because I feel like
Okay.
that's the more that's the lead right there. Um, which announcements do you want to cover? Because I don't know if I want to go straight to Naughty Dog or straight to like Witcher or do the indie stuff or
Ah, all right. So, um, I kind of I kind of want to start with Joseph Ferris.
yes, that's a good one.
If you're done with that, yeah.
That was my prediction is that Joseph Ferris was going to
Yeah.
announce his joint, and
I
I was totally right.
I did not go back to check the predictions, but I remember that he said something about that, and that you also I think you predicted Kojima, which everybody could have, but then he didn't show anything new. He was just there.
Yeah, he was just there
Uh
to say nothing, basically.
yeah, yeah. But dude, this new Joseph Ferris game looks really cool. Like really genuinely cool. Like I feel that way about I mean, I love all of his games. It's kind of become a Ready Press Play thing, right? And yeah, I we're definitely gonna have to stream it and play it together or something. I thought like it's so cool to see how I think his games progressively look more higher budget with like every subsequent title. And you could see it with this one. It's like, damn, like the art direction, like everything just looks really cool. And I love that he does not give a fuck. He's like he's saying whatever he wants to say. He's making fun of loot boxes in the freaking trailer of the game and he continues to do the thing too where it's like if you only have to buy the game once and you can play it with two people. Which I think is like paramount for those games' success. I know we are going to end up buying it twice.
Yeah.
But like for the average person out there who's just like buying a game and wants somebody to play it with, it's so much easier if you can just like get them to play it with you without having to spend any money. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm just really happy that our industry has a character like him and his team doing the games that they're making. Because I feel like we really need it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I don't really have much to add to it. I mean, the trailer was kind of like spoke for itself, and it definitely
Hmm.
feels like It Takes Two, but like just It Takes Two already felt like it was cranked up. I think it was dialed at 11. I don't know how you go
Yeah.
further, but it feels like they're dialing it at a 20 right now. Is what it feels
Yep.
like.
It
So I'm
just
very excited about it. And I think I don't know if I texted you this or I was going to text you, but you told me not to spoil because you didn't watch it live. You were like behind.
yeah.
But I was planning on telling you or texting you. I was like, we're going to play this on Ready Press Play Twitch. That Twitch account, we still
Yeah.
have that password. So we're going to use that shit. So at least the account, even though it's a little dormant right now, it still has a reason to exist. So we're going to totally play that on Twitch.
Yeah. This keeps happening with me when I watch the Game Awards. Like it's happened for the last 2 years, and it's not intentional. It is that like the show starts and I'm having to finish something at work or whatever, and I just can't like be there. Like, and it's one of those where like if I can't watch it live, if I already know I'm gonna be like 20 minutes behind, I might as well be 30 or 40 or whatever because at the end of the day, it is what it is. And then I'll try to go media blackout, right? Like I'm not looking at Twitter or anything. Like I'll put my phone on do not disturb, and I'll just go and watch it. And being behind allows you to skip shit you don't want to see, which is like
You
it's not a tool that I use that much, but I will occasionally use it. Like later on in the show when they were going to those like commercial breaks, like where it's really not any announcement. It is literally just like two or three ads for games that are already out or whatever. Like I was skipping those. Um, but yeah, man. I see I was wondering if you were gonna want to start with like maybe overall feelings or like overall
Yeah,
thoughts.
yeah, let's do that.
Uh yeah, okay.
I actually want to just use my catchphrase. I think
Mhm.
that's like the most like it captures it very well for me because I think that this Game Awards might be the best Game Awards to ever Game Awards.
Yeah. I agree with you, and it was the 10-year anniversary, and I think because of that Jeff Keighley just kind of stepped up the game and stepped up like I don't know, like it almost feels like there's things that he trimmed out some of the fat. The show was still very long, which I think is just inevitable, but it was like very long with a lot of big stuff. So and not even from like a personal like I had stuff that spoke to me personally, but even outside of that I was thinking about it. We had like 5 or 6 game of the year winning studios unveil new projects this at this Game Awards,
Yeah.
because CD Projekt Red has won Game of the Year before. Naughty Dog has won Game of the Year before. Haze Light with It Takes Two has won Game of the Year before. We saw Okami again. Like, holy shit! Like, that was a Game of the Year contender too back in the day. Like, so there were a lot of just like completely out of left field announcements, and not a lot had leaked, as far as
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, it's like, um off the modern era, right? Like the post-pandemic era. I am wondering, Lewis, I wonder if you agree with this. This might have been the best overall game showcase that we've had, like in this era, because there were a lot of surprises. The pacing was cool. Like even the Muppet bits,
Yeah.
like they were like genuinely like on point this time. Like, I don't know. It was just like
Yeah.
all around, it just felt like a really great show.
I actually, I think that even though it was 3 hours, I think one of the things that helps is that the pacing was good. So like,
Yeah.
you can have a 90-minute movie that's just drags and it feels like a 2.5 hour movie. You can also have a 3 hour epic that's just so well paced that it feels like time goes by. I just think
Yeah.
that it's just like the feeling of, I guess, movement. I guess is like things weren't really lingered. There really wasn't a what is that the guy from God of War who did the long ass 15-minute speech. Like
Oh
there
yeah.
really like it wasn't like it wasn't
Yeah.
any kind of like major like slowdowns at any point. And I feel like one of the things I really don't know how they did it, but this is just from my perspective. It
Hmm.
feels like nobody got rushed during their acceptance speeches. Like it feels
You're
like no
right.
one was being played out and being like hurry up, but everyone was given like their time to do their speeches, but also they also didn't drag on and feel like overly complicated. So it feels like it was just
Yeah.
like that right harmonious balance for me then in everything. And I kind of sort of made peace that the Game Awards aren't really about the awards, so
Hmm.
like um like it kind of irked me, like even during the show where like Jeff Keighley's like reading off 3 or 4 awards in a
Yeah.
row and kind of like every so often, and I'm like, okay, that kind of sucks. And some of the awards that were like given out, like content creator, I feel like historically they do acceptance speeches. Like I remember Greg
Hmm.
Miller and Boogie like have done
Yeah.
acceptance speeches and stuff like that. It kind of sucks that like that category just got shuffled into the
Hmm.
essentially what's a pre-show version of whatever that is. But overall, like I do think that the show kept my attention, and everything was just like very well done in the sense that like what I think it was that helped the pacing
Mm.
is actually the sauce that was helping was that there was a huge emphasis on retro series like
Mm.
Okami, Virtua Fighter.
Right.
Like there was what is it? Not Streets of Rage, Double Dragon. Like they had so
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
like retro series that were just being put on. So like since there's so much brand familiarity and like
Yeah.
even there was like a Shadow Pac-Man game like
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
written out. So
You're
it's
right.
like
You're right.
so yeah, there was just constant like NES and N64. Oh, Turok, like just constant like retro franchises that were being revived.
and
Um,
and
yeah,
so many names, like there were so many where it's like a new game from like this person, and it's like, oh wow, like like that kind of stuff, like how the Shadow of the Colossus guy,
yeah.
like there's a new game from
Oh
him. And
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah,
there was like a War Inspector like new project as well, which is like a legendary name in the industry, the guy who created Deus Ex and stuff like that. And it was just like there was a lot of that. It was like a lot of like Jeff Keighley managed to convince a lot of big names in the industry to use his space, his show, to unveil their next thing. And I think there's something really powerful about that. Like, even talking about Naughty Dog, like, that should be like the headliner at Sony's next,
State of
like,
Play. Yeah,
E3, a
yeah,
state of play or whatever, right?
yeah,
And instead, we saw it in Jeff Keighley's show. So, like, it just kind of goes to show like how far the show has gotten since 2014. Um, we had a few low years. I remember there was a few years where you could kind of tell that like the show was kind of grasping at straws to like have like it was like there was a lot of there was a lot of filler and then maybe like one or two like big things, right? Like this show had a lot of big things and a lot of things for people with different tastes. Like you mentioned Virtua Fighter. I didn't even remember that one because I'm not like a fighting game guy, right? But like when I saw like Okami coming back, I'm like, oh my god, like that's crazy. So I don't know. There was just I think that everybody who is a gamer who watch the show would have had at least a few things where they go, "What?" And I feel like that's really powerful and really hard to do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about that. I feel like I wanted to say something about the. You know what? Let's just talk about it. Like,
Mhm.
I wanted us to talk about the Naughty Dog announcement. What was it? The Heretic, whatever. What is it called? I forgot what it's called.
Oh, I just
Uh,
blanked on the name. I'll find it for you. So just tell me what do you think of
yeah.
it, I guess.
Okay. It's nice to see that Naughty Dog is like actually making new IP, and I like how like at the very beginning it's like from the creators of Crash Bandicoot and Jack and Dexter.
Yes.
Intergalactic.
Intergalactic the heretic intergalactic the heretic prophet. It's a mouthful of a game name. It
It
doesn't
doesn't roll
roll
off
off
the
the
tongue.
tongue
Yeah.
as easy as Uncharted and The Last of Us and stuff.
Yeah.
Um
I don't know. I feel like I want to reserve my judgment because it's like I think I was on the record saying that I wasn't gonna buy the next Naughty Dog game whenever The Last
yes.
of Us Part Two came out, and I'm actually not entirely convinced, you know, by the
Mhm.
the the game. Like, um, I
Well,
do.
we haven't seen the game yet. We
Yeah.
saw we saw like just it's just the teaser, right?
Yeah, well, they
But
did
like
have like scenes that looked like cuts, not gameplay. They had
mhm.
like it looked like gameplay of her shooting and stuff like that. So, um, I'm not entirely 100% on board yet. Um, I'm also just like been deflated by Naughty Dog as of lately. So I think that's some of that's just carrying over for me.
Well, there's something that some people say too. It's like no game, no hype, no gameplay, no hype, or something like that, right? And I think that's a good attitude generally to have sometimes. Cause yeah, like as it stands, like we don't really know what the game is. There's been a lot of space stuff recently that has not necessarily been as good as people expected it, right?
Yeah,
So I feel like that's also like a thing. Like maybe people were a little too burned with like Starfield and some of the Star Wars games and
yeah,
stuff
it's
like
like Star
that. But
Wars Outlaws, Skyrim in space.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Mass
um,
Effect wasn't had a bad entry lately, like the Andromeda.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. But
So
I'll tell
yeah,
you this, I really like just the vibe. Like the kind of like 80s like kind of aesthetic of that they're going for. It feels very colorful. Like it feels like it's going to have a lot of personality is what I mean. And I know that's something that some fans have been displeased with Naughty Dog in the last few years is that Naughty Dog had this very like artsy kind of very like creatively artsy era with things like Crash Bandicoot and Jack and Dexter. And then through Uncharted, they just like slowly went more towards like the gritty and realistic, like over the course of the franchise, and then especially going into The Last of Us, it's like very like gray, gritty, like dark. And with this trailer, I get the impression that this is almost like going back to the roots a little bit for Naughty Dog, where it feels like they're gonna go more fun. Like, you
yeah,
know what I mean?
and
Like
not
less,
it's less prestige, more fun. Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah,
less drama and sadness and darkness and more like fun. Like let's have fun in space. Like that's the impression I get. Obviously, it's a Naughty Dog game. We know it's gonna have like some deep story and all of that. But yeah, I'm excited to see more of it. I feel like I wonder if this is a situation. Let me ask you this, Lewis. Do you think like the next state of play we're gonna get like a deeper dive into this game, or does it disappear for a while and we don't see it again until like a year from now or 2 years from now or something?
I'm of the opinion that it's gonna disappear. Like even though they said they've been
Hmm.
working on it since 2020, I'm a little bit like skeptical as to how far they're in development because it seems like they were putting a lot of their resources into like the Last of Us multiplayer that never came out. So like in my head, it just kind of feels like maybe I don't know, maybe that was actual gameplay like pre-alpha or footage. I don't know, but it
Hmm.
definitely skewed more cinematic than anything. As a matter of fact,
Yeah,
I was heard that most times cinematics that look like gameplay are more of like a proof of concept, like what they're targeting, what they're looking for, like
yeah,
the like a as eventually essentially like a motion storyboard of what they're gonna aim for than
yeah,
actual what they're what they've
yeah.
actually
That is
accomplished.
that is absolutely true, and a lot of times those things are done even before you have even come close to accomplishing that, so that it can help guide the team in the direction of like the what you want, right? It's like in through the game development process, a lot of times early on you're going to be doing a lot of things like mood boards, and maybe you do like some quickly put together like edited like fake trailer and stuff like that, like internally to the team, so that it helps set the tone for what the team is going to be trying to achieve. And I feel like something like this seems like something that was done so that like they can help bring together like everything that they're working on, and like yeah, like this is the goal, right? Like that vibe is the goal.
Do you think they're gonna like go like Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy kind of vibe with the soundtrack?
I did get that vibe with it. Yes. I'm just so excited. You just reminded me that I played the Guardians of the Galaxy game, and it was genuinely really good. Like it was an underrated game in my opinion. And so if they're taking any learnings from that as well, like just or like any inspiration from that, I think that would go a long way too. And yeah, I'm just very excited. Obviously, we don't know what the game really is yet, but I'm very excited to find out more.
All right. My next question to you is: do you think that Pac-Man game is going to be called Pac-Man, or is it going to be called something else? I don't know if they actually set a title for that game or not, but like it kind of like gives me like what's that like a what is it called like a Metroidvania vibe to it, like Dark Ori, or what's that other game that people like that's on the Switch that people were wanting the part two to? I forgot. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's wait, is it Hollow Knight
Yeah, Hollow Knight.
or
Yeah, Hollow Knight.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was thinking it looks like Hollow Knight, but like in space. It's kind of like how it looked like to me.
Yeah, so I pulled up the part in the IGN article here so that we can just get like a blurb from it or something. Secret Levels Pac-Man episode is getting its very own game called Shadow Labyrinth. So this is based on the show. There's like this show called Secret Level where each episode will be based on a different video game,
Hmm.
and then they're making they're making a game based on the show that's based on the game. But dude, it looked really cool. Let's see. It looked to tell more of the story of this darker and edgier version of the iconic arcade character. Um, I almost like don't know like I just keep wondering like what led to this? Like how does somebody go from like Pac-Man to like this dark Metroidvania?
I've
Um
seen a meme where it's like Pac-Man. It's like the arcade original arcade Pac-Man in the top-down view
uh-huh.
and stuff like that. And then next to it was like a rendition of what you're actually playing, and it's a guy in a yellow like space suit and his helmet. And then like his crewmates are all ghosts and they're haunting him and he's sort of cowering and stuff like that. And so it's like
Damn.
it takes place in a spaceship that he's just running around in or whatever. And I'm like, wow, people just got imaginations. So
Yeah,
it kind of it
absolutely.
kind of like trickles from that meme in that sense that like the way the game looks like and stuff. I'm surprised they didn't use the word Pac-Man in the title of that. By the way, I'm just
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just called Shadow Labyrinth. I wonder if they'll end up because Shadow Labyrinth almost sounds a bit too generic. I wonder if they'll end up giving it a subtitle or something like I don't know, like or Pac. It could be like Pac-Man and the Shadow Labyrinth or something,
Oh
right?
yeah, I like that
But
one. You know what? There you go. That's the one.
yeah.
That's the one.
I did want to comment on the art style though. Like it looks. I'm just looking at the trailer again because I didn't quite remember it as in detail. Everything looks hand painted in the art, and it makes me think of the Rayman games, like Rayman Legends, like that kind of level of like attention to detail and a very like hand drawn feel of it. So I don't know. I think it looks really cool. It says here that it's set to be released in 2025. And that the Tekken producer Katsuhiro Harada is one of the talented individuals on the team. Um, interesting. Like some interesting people behind it. Dude, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Um, all right. Well, the other thing was, you want to talk about more about the Eco one? Was it called Project Giant Robot, like the Nintendo code name that we used to? I don't know if it was called that, but like it was really cool, like scene where somebody was climbing like the head, and then his head just ejected from.
Dude,
It was
it
Pacific
almost
Rim. Like, yeah, I was thinking Pacific
it,
Rim.
it actually it made me think of Attack on Titan.
Hmm.
Without getting into like any spoilers or anything like that, but yeah, it gave me that kind of like Attack on Titan final season kind of vibe. Yeah, dude, like I never played Eco nor The Last Guardian. They're in my like two playlists, but Shadow of the Colossus is an excellent game. And it's one that got remade recently by Blue Point, and so you can go and play like a really cool neo modern version of it. The Last Guardian we know had very tortuous development. It was like restarted and switched teams like multiple times and stuff like that. So what I'm hoping for is that I'm hoping that um Fumito Ueda, who is like, the director, the person behind it, the creative behind it, I hope that he's like learned the lessons of whatever went wrong with the Last Guardian, and that he got a new team together and they know what they're making, and they're gonna go and just come out with something that is even better than anything they've done before. And like a lot of the other stuff at this Game Awards, it is very much just like a tone setter. Um, but I'm here for it. Like I'm here for this tone. I'm very excited for what the gameplay is actually going to be. Like, are you going to be flying around, like exploring this open world, like piloting that robot head? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to be trying to rebuild like the rest of the robot or whatever? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Honestly, no, I did make one prediction that never came to pass, and I actually wanted to talk about that one.
Uh
I
huh.
predicted that Metroid Prime 4 was going to be there, and
Mm.
you know what's kind of crazy? We were singing the praises about how the whole gaming industry was there, and the 10th anniversary. I don't think anyone from Nintendo was actually in the present there, and if they were, they were never on stage. They were never a presenter. They never got an award win. Zelda and like Mario Party and all the other nominees that were Nintendo reps did not win a single award that night. And so literally there was no Nintendo presence at all. And it's kind of interesting that like there that this if Jeff Keighley had that pool or whatever, this is the 10th anniversary, we're gonna go big. I feel like he should have gotten Metroid Prime 4, because we could have seen an actual like juicy ass trailer. And it sucks because the Nintendo Switch 2 is around the corner. Specs have allegedly leaked. The Switch 2
Hmm.
like design has like leaked because of cases. The case makers already have it or something. And it just sucks that like Nintendo's gonna probably hold it back for their own presentation. But like, come on, you should have totally done it.
Dude, I mean, I'm sure Jeff Keighley tried in some way. I'm sure he tried to get something from Nintendo. Like they were, and I was just checking, they were nominated. They had 6 nominations, although 3 of them were for the same category, which was the best family game. And they did not win any of the awards. I feel like I thought Doug Bowser was there, but maybe he wasn't. I don't remember seeing him, but he usually is there, so I just kind of assumed that he was gonna be there. Um, I think Nintendo has just kind of gone quiet. Like, even with their releases this year, like they did not release anything groundbreaking. They released like smaller games, spin-offs, like stuff like that. Um, I think they're getting ready for just a blowout for the Switch 2, and I think they want to own that message. Like, I think they want to own that blowout. They don't want to share the same breath as these other companies. And I think because of that, even if they were going to be there, I don't think they would have given them one of their big guns. I think Metroid Prime is one of the big guns. So
Actually, well, I don't know. Maybe you're right about that, but they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot because I don't know. I don't know how where they were at this year, but like Jeff Keighley, every Game Awards from 2014 to 2015, like through 2018 at least, every year Jeff Keighley has always been bragging about we broke viewership records. We've got this many millions of people across these many platforms. Like every year the numbers are going up and up and up. And I feel like if this is basically a big advertisement, right? Like a big
Hmm.
ad, then basically you've got presumably at least 100 million by now of people like
Right, right.
eyeballs watching. Like I feel like you could have at least given us Metroid Prime 4 just to not if you're I get you don't want to you want to own all the mind space and like the mind share all that stuff, but at the same time you have a game that skews more like I guess like more hardcore,
More
that yeah
adult.
yeah
And I think the Game Awards audience
the
I think
audience
skews more adult, and
yeah
then that's the Nintendo game that probably skews more adult now. So I'm with you. You know, something maybe they could have done is that they could have given us like almost like 10 seconds of it, and then with a date at the end of when we're gonna see more.
Oh, you know what
Like
they did with the Virtua Fighter? Like, it's like they're gonna do a Virtua Fighter direct the next day. They could have at least announced the next direct.
yeah,
Yeah,
like announce like the future of Nintendo. It's like
yeah,
give me a bunch of like one frame shots of like random things, and then the future of Nintendo, and then a date.
yeah,
Like, can you just imagine? Like, yeah, that would have been something that they could have done to like um yeah, even like steal the show a little bit,
yeah.
right? Um but yeah, I guess not. I guess they just wanna be in the corner doing their own thing.
All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is actually something that I watch. I'm a frequent watcher of Yang Ye,
Hmm.
and you featured on one of his videos as a Twitter. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
fuck you. Uh, so he actually covered something that I didn't even know about. There was this guy, the guy that won Game Changer Award. There was a controversy
Oh
about
yeah.
him. I don't know if you're aware of
Oh
that.
really? No.
So they gave the Game Changer Award to this guy. I don't know this guy's name. I forgot. You can. It was
His
like a.
name is Amir Sadvat.
Okay. Yes. So they gave him his the Game Changer Award, which by the way they didn't even give a Lifetime Achievement Award. They were giving those awards every year.
Hmm.
I don't. I remember like in the early ones, they first was a person for King's Quest. I don't know if you remember that one or not.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
it's
So
Canon Roberta
yeah.
Williams. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So they were giving those away. So they didn't do that this year, but they gave a Game Changer Award, which was not a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's more of like you did something cool for the industry award, where he basically made an Excel spreadsheet so that way people can fill in their information to help get jobs in the industry.
Hmm.
And so they sold it as like a
To be fair, at least watching the show, it came across like it was beyond just that. Like that was like maybe like the start of it, but then they created a whole kind of network,
yeah.
like online network of some kind.
Yes.
Yeah, to
Okay.
help
I,
people
I
get
kind of
jobs. Yeah.
understood it. I'll give you that one. But
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
But basically, like, he had like this YouTube channel with like 600 subscribers and not very many views, and it was sort of like
Hmm.
giving this notion that it was like this humble guy that's just doing something that's just benevolent and that kind of stuff. And then it came out that like people were like doing their investigative journalism stuff, and I didn't know about this, but apparently he works for Tencent. So,
Mm.
and you know what he does for Tencent? He does talent or IP acquisition. So
Mm.
basically, he poaches and figures out for Tencent what's the next IP, what's the next acquisition that we're gonna do. Has like, how can we buy someone out and stuff like that. He's just like sort of like, that meme where you
Mm.
rub your hands together kind of thing. Like
Right.
that's kind of like what it's
Not
going on.
not not knowing the full context, I'm just gonna immediately push back on it so that we have like two perspectives here. So I don't know, like I'm not jumping to somebody's defense that I don't know, but I just want to make a devil's advocate kind of argument. Like I work for EA, but just because I'm doing something that doesn't mean that I'm doing it like in a way that represents my company. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
so like I'm still my own person. Like I could go and set up something. Like I could go and set up a network to try to help people make indie games or something like that, or like find each other so they can work on indie games together. That doesn't mean somebody could say, "Well, he works for EA, so he must be doing that so that EA can like steal these indie game ideas or something like that." But that would not necessarily be the case just because I work for EA. So I'm just throwing that out there as a potential devil's advocate without knowing the full context of this story.
Right, right. There's a whole Twitter thread that they put on the video, and it was like this 15 thing, and they read it out, and I'm like, damn, it was so like damning. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm not gonna find it. I don't have it on screen or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. We're not. Well, this is not the podcast to talk about that. I
I
just want to throw
I
that
mean,
out there.
I'm curious about it now, and I would just say viewers are welcome to go do some digging on that and then see what like kind of see for themselves, you
Yeah,
know, like make their own mind about it.
yeah.
But
So
I'm interested. I'm gonna go do some research after this.
yeah. So I think I don't know. Is there any announcements that you want to talk about? Because I don't really have anything else that I too much cared. I know there was a lot. There was a lot of that we didn't even cover, so we're kind of pressed for time. Did you want to
Uh,
anything that you
yeah.
wanted to hit?
Let me go through this real quick and just see if there's anything else other than what we already mentioned that maybe we could
Oh,
talk about. Like,
The Witcher 4. I feel like we
I think
should
that's a pretty big deal. Yeah.
I feel like I should have called it. Like CD Projekt Red. I
Hmm.
mean, like I think it was about time. I really think a lot of times like some of these like developers and stuff like I was like, yeah, damn it, why didn't I predict that and stuff? Because like I was like looking at the timing of when's their last release and stuff and how long it's been. It's like, yeah, this is about the pace, the cadence at which you should be announcing stuff or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a Witcher fan. I'm not. I've never played The
Hmm.
Witcher. I know the name Geralt. So I think that's his name. Pretty sure.
Yeah, that's the main character.
I
Yeah.
know of it, and I've been seeing some reactions online. I don't really too much
No.
care about it, but it just feels like there's people were upset that they changed the protagonist to be a female protagonist. I'm like, whatever. I don't
So,
really care
to
about that.
I do want to clarify something, which is that like especially for somebody that maybe doesn't know the story of it. I don't know in depth, but I've watched the show. I've watched the show and I played Witcher 3 for a while. Um the character that is the protagonist of this game has been a character in the whole Witcher series.
Okay.
So, she is a character. She is basically like, for lack of a better word, she's basically Geralt's daughter, but without being literally his daughter. She's
Okay.
like sort of like an adopted daughter kind of situation. And like he trains her and stuff like that. It's like a whole thing. So I feel like it makes sense that at some point she would take up the mental. It kind of makes me think of like spoilers for Uncharted. Like it kind of makes me think that if they went back to Uncharted, I think it would make sense to expect that given the way that Uncharted 4 ended, the Nathan Drake might not be the main character.
Hmm.
I don't know how The Witcher 3 ends. So I wonder, does The Witcher 3 end in a way that already set up this potential storyline? Or did it not? You know, and I don't know it enough to know that. I just know that the character's been there all along, so
And I
it's
do.
not a random like
Yeah.
who is this person kind
Yeah.
of thing, you know, like
And I do believe that that person was there all along because the only reason why I knew who that character was because they're in Fortnite.
oh yeah.
So like
Yeah.
Geralt was the season pass skin and she was the item shop skin. So you can buy her
Yeah.
on the item shop. So I've seen her before. I didn't buy her on the item shop because I only buy skins that I want. And I'm not a Witcher fan, so I didn't get it.
And you know, with this announcement, I'm kind of curious just to see CD Project Red, right? What is this CD Project Red now, right? Because we had the CD Project Red that everybody
And
loved.
The Witcher
That was
Three, yeah,
with The Witcher 3.
yeah,
Then we had the CD Project Red that everybody hated with
Cyberpunk.
when Cyberpunk came out, right? However, you know, they've been trying to like earn back their morale. They're trying to earn back their reputation. They've apparently like released some really good updates and DLC for Cyberpunk. I know they've had a lot of changes in their tech. Like I think they switched to using Unreal Engine instead of like their own internal engine and stuff like that. So, um, when we get to see more of this game, which I'm guessing is going to be next year, when you really think about it, Cyberpunk is already 4 years old. So like this game could be further along than some people might think.
I mean, they spent a lot of resources making Cyberpunk like to the No Man's Sky effect
Yeah,
of like actually finishing the game. So there's that.
yeah, that's totally fair. I'm curious, like when we start seeing more of it, I'm very curious to see what kind of goodwill CD Projekt Red will have or not have, and I want to see if they've learned from their mistakes with the Cyberpunk and if they can release a more a more finished product this time with this game, you know. And I would recommend everybody, if you're interested in this, I would recommend wait and see.
Mm.
You know, like wait, let the game come out, look at the reviews, look at the gameplay videos, whatever, you know, uh make sure your PC has the right settings.
The right graphics card. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Before going out and buying it.
all right, and the next game that we should talk about that I just remembered. Apparently, there's not a lot of positive online reactions, but there's an Elden Ring like standalone game coming out next year.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
So
People were hyped initially whenever it was rolling out, like the actual trailer, because the trailer was very like, you know, what is this? Like,
yeah.
it was kind of like Monster Huntery. Like, is it like are you like, is it a multiplayer, co-op multiplayer where you're taking on it together? But apparently, some details came out after the fact, and apparently, it's got like a little bit of battle royale elements to it. Where
Mm,
like that big dragon that's flying around. Apparently, that's their version of the battle bus where you come out from. So
mm,
people are thinking probably games as a service,
mhm.
which I don't know. By the way, I haven't really. Again, I don't do that kind of like digging. I just sort of see, what the wind hits me or whatever. However it made fall. Um, but that being said, I wasn't really. I'm not a. I never played the first Elden Ring. I never played the expansion that got nominated. I don't really too much care for Elden Ring. I generally tend not to care for that studio that makes those hard ass games like Sekiro and stuff. What's the name of that
Yeah.
studio? I forgot.
From software.
From Software, yeah, apparently. And apparently there's rumors that From Software might be bought out by PlayStation one of these days. So,
Mm.
yeah.
I feel like that would not surprise me. I'm also not a From Software fan. I have to be honest, when I saw the trailer for that game, I thought it looked kind of bad. Just like you know, you never know. Like I don't like to render too much judgment from a first look, right? But the first impression wasn't great to me. Like just looking at it, I was like, this looks kind of old. Like I don't know, like um it didn't look in line with um current gen tech, in my opinion. It felt like it just looked a little old and just not as impressive to my eyes. So it's not something that I'm personally interested in. About it potentially being a games as a service, though, something that kind of surprised me is we did not see a lot of those at
Hmm.
this Game Awards, and I think that might be why we walked away a little bit more positive about it too, because there was some years there where it felt like we were getting so many Fortnite clones. It was like over and over again. There was like so many of them, and they all kind of looked the same. And this time we didn't really get that.
Actually, you remind me of the Game Awards nominee presenter at the Game of the Year. Baldur's Gate 3, the
Oh
developer,
yeah.
he called out the entire game industry and said, like, this is the common sense that, the formula to
Mhm.
becoming a nominee and an eventual winner is you got to, like, make the game because you're passionate about it because, like those
Such a
very,
great
yeah,
speech.
that was
That was
like,
like the best speech of the night.
I
Yeah.
know everyone just. I mean, damn! Like it almost kind of felt like they were calling out the entire games industry and like sort of like speaking truth to power. Kind of like it's sort of
Yeah.
like what's the word? It's attacking that cynicism of like that corporate greed kind of stuff. It's like
Yeah.
fuck these microtransactions, without saying that, in a
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
politically correct way of saying it.
Yeah, he was basically saying, like passionate people making games they're passionate about that they want to play, like that is the key to it. And yeah, it spoke to my heart for sure. I thought that that was a very good speech, and I was proud of somebody being willing to go up there and say that, and say it in the way that he did. He was very cheeky about it, he was kind of making it like a metaphor out of it, and stuff, but yeah, shout out.
Hmm.
Deep respect for that man.
Definitely a standout moment. I can't believe thank God we were
Yeah.
talking because I was able to remember these things as we were talking. I really should have like made a
Yeah.
script for this show, but whatever. Anyways,
Yeah, absolutely.
any moments before we switch over? Any other game
Um,
announcements?
Nothing else that is particularly appealing to me. I will just throw out there. There's this indie game called Dispatch that has a very interesting cast. It looked like a choice-based game, like kind of like Telltale without being
Oh yeah,
Telltale,
yeah,
but
I saw
it
that
was
one. I remember that one.
Aaron Paul, Laura Bailey,
Yeah.
Jeffrey Wright, like Jacksepticeye is in it, Alana Pierce is in it. So yeah, that just seemed interesting. Like,
Mhm.
okay, let's see what that's about. And yeah, other than that, there was a bunch of the old stuff that we didn't get too into, like the Turok coming back and stuff like that. I don't know if you have any.
Nah,
Yeah, you
nah,
good?
I'm
Yeah.
good.
Oh, and Borderlands 4 was there, but
Yeah.
eh, yeah.
I can't believe they got Harrison Ford to present. By the way, just want to throw that out there.
Dude, every every year they get some
Boomer.
basically
Like
retired
he
boomer
was
actor
he's this
to
year's Al Pacino. And then the worst part was
yeah.
he did the Al Pacino where he couldn't read the teleprompter, by the way. He literally like he's like, "Oh, my eyes, I can't see," just, he did the thing where he's like
And honestly, I understand that it's like we all love Harrison Ford, right? Like I get it. Like they wanted to put him next to Troy Baker because they both
we'll
play
play
Indiana
Indiana Jones,
Jones.
yeah.
Like, yeah, that's cool and all, but like, does he even know where he is? Like, does he even understand any of that? Like, not. I think I'm sounding a little bit ageist or something. That's not what I mean. I just mean like you can tell that some of these people, like the way they behave when they're on stage. I felt the same way about Al Pacino too. By the
They
way,
don't
it's
know the
like
audience that they're in front of, basically, is what you're saying, yeah.
yeah, it's just weird. Like those moments are just kind of weird to me. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. And we didn't talk about the music at all, by the way. I did not think the musical performances were the best of all the Game
I
Awards,
like the
but they
21
were good.
Pilots. I like the 21 Pilots more than
Oh
Snoop Dogg.
yeah.
Snoop Dogg was just basically making a Snoop Dogg concert at that point.
Yeah.
but but
The
yeah,
the 21 Pilots performance was probably the best one. Yeah,
yeah.
to me.
And then shout out to the flute guy, by the way. Always,
Oh
always shout
yes.
out to him, by the way.
He goes through so many instruments, by the way, like over the course of like the final like orchestra moment. He's playing this thing and then he's playing this thing and like yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, God, there's so many moments. I can't believe thank God we were able to touch on almost everything important. And if we didn't,
Yeah.
you can just leave us a bad review.
Uh
Anyways,
Tekken 8 new character. Do you care about that? The Final Fantasy guy going to Tekken 8?
actually, I wouldn't. I should have predicted that one because Final Fantasy. I think it's Final Fantasy 16 character actually.
Yeah,
Because
yep.
Final Fantasy 15 was in rep. There was a Final Fantasy 15 rep in Tekken 7,
Mm.
so that actually kind of like tracks. But yeah, I just got Tekken 8 like a couple of days ago. We did a Secret Santa amongst my group of friends, and I just got it. And
Cool.
I got to play. I played like one round against the CPU just to like try it out, and I was very impressed with the load times. Like Tekken 7, if you played it on the PS4, you're waiting for like you can make a sandwich between like games and stuff like that. It just takes forever. Where it's
Hmm.
like get ready for the next battle, and you're just sitting there waiting, getting ready for the next battle. They don't even have time to say that in the PS5 version. But yeah. Anyways, um, yeah. Let's go on to the actual the winners and stuff like that. And Dan, I want to start off by saying that. Well, if number one, congratulations and fuck you as well. But I want to start off by saying that I decided to go back and look at our aggregate scores because I told you what our aggregate score was this year, and we never actually put it in the spreadsheet for previous years. So I actually went back and actually looked at counted them up. So we got together out of the 27 categories, we got 21 right, which is we tied our record because last year in 2023 we did 18 out of 27, and in 2022 we did 21 out of 27. So we haven't quite hit 22 and above yet.
Hmm.
So we only got six wrong collectively.
I will add, by the way, there were some categories that we did not do this year. I don't know if on purpose or not, but it was like there were some of the esports team and
Yeah, we
esports player.
we uh, we
Uh,
decided a couple of years ago not to do those because we didn't care about
okay,
them. Like the esports event, esports team,
yeah,
esports player. Like we were like
yeah.
I didn't put them on this year because we last year we kicked them out. Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting this year, by the way, with those is that it was the League of Legends people basically won all of it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, so that thing, I think we're gonna keep that rule in place unless
yeah.
otherwise. Uh,
We gotten better at I think we gotten good or at least I did.
fuck
We
you.
got we gotten better at predicting the standards of the Game Awards, and there was something that I realized this year especially, which is if a game is nominated for Game of the Year, they will win every other category that they're in against other games.
Yeah,
You know? Like, and I think we got to remember that because that was pretty much 1-to-1 this year, I think.
yeah, No, I
Yeah.
believe you. I actually, that's how I voted too, by the way. I voted
Hmm.
for other Game of the Award nominees and stuff. Very rarely, and I think like two of those I actually broke that just because I really was believing in the other games. Like for instance,
Hmm.
like Family Game. Like I
Yeah.
didn't want. I know Astrobot was nominated and the others weren't, but in my head I really was, trying to will it, so to speak. Like I was
Yeah.
believing in the what do you call it, the going on faith of the faith, true faith of the category, like the essence of what
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
category means. So like
Hmm.
I was like, these are all single player games, these can't be a family game. So I was, reading too much into it, I will say. But overall, like I gotta say, I'm not mad about who won. Like, let's go with
Hmm.
Game of the Year. I guess let's go with the top of the one. I voted for Black Myth Wukong because I actually voted outside of myself because
Hmm.
in my heart, I wanted Astrobot to win, and I just didn't
Hmm.
believe it. Because a lot of times, like 2020 with The Last of Us Part Two, I don't always get my way, and
Right. Right. Right.
I've always sort of like reluctant, like just sort of like let myself just
Right.
not be the one who wants get what I want kind of thing. That's how I sort
Hmm.
of take it. So I thought Black Myth Wukong was going to win because I think that, like, culturally speaking, I feel like it had a bigger impact. It had way
Hmm.
more sales than Astro, but I can tell you that much. And it
Right.
definitely owned a lot more water cooler, like, Twitter space for a lot
Hmm.
longer than Astrobot. I felt like Astrobot was not a flash in the pan, but essentially by comparison to Black Myth Wukong, I feel like it was.
Well, Astrobot is also limited to one platform,
Yes.
right? But that has also not deterred other console exclusive games from winning in the past, like God of War
Or Breath of the Wild.
and Breath of the Wild, right? So
Yeah.
it's I think it's one of those things where like it matters for a audience voted award, but it doesn't matter as much for a critic voted award.
True.
Right.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Black Myth Wukong won the Player's Choice
Right.
Award. And they basically started off with like 30, 40 games on a list, and they did multiple rounds until they got to the top five or top six or whatever. And it ended up winning. I genuinely did think that Black Myth Wukong was going to win way more. It only won one category. I think it won Best Action Game,
Hmm.
which I don't. Oh, wait, yeah, we both voted that one correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am not upset with the winners. Like, I don't think I called shenanigans because a lot of the times, like, even though I got just to give the score, I only got 9 right out of the 27, and Dan got 19 right. But a lot of the times, in a majority of the cases, Dan's pick was going to be my second like fallback pick or whatever. And I think
Right. Right. Right.
I only changed two categories in our entire voting process. I think I only changed twice off of you just to not repeat you.
Yeah.
So at most I would have gotten was 11, even if I would,
Right.
yeah. Anything you
What
wanted
are
to
the
say?
two? I'm curious. What are the two categories that you got over me?
Oh,
I think.
I got best. Was it? I think it was esports. No, VR. I know I got best VR over you. That one I was very happy.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, Asgard's Wrath. Not this time. I'm pretty sure the first Asgard's Wrath has won in like a previous award, but yeah, I did not. I actually was not familiar with that Batman game, and I think it just flew under my radar somehow.
Well,
Um,
I knew a lot about
no.
the Twitter space and like how people were
Mm,
raving about it, so I knew that it was gonna win just off of that, how much hype it had. I also want to give you credit because I do think that Asgard's Wrath would have won because during his acceptance speech, the developer that was accepting the award gave a shout out to Asgard's Wrath, like
yeah.
because he was like he thought that they were gonna win too.
Which, by the way, we didn't talk about how when Astrobot won Game of the Year, they had this like almost like they tanked Nintendo without thanking Nintendo.
Oh
Like in
yeah, yes they
as part
did.
of the acceptance speech, they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh yeah, and we have to say that we were inspired by this company that's in Kyoto that's been around a long time and making these kinds of games." And it was I don't know why he didn't just say Nintendo. It's like
yeah.
that would he had genuinely gotten in trouble if he said that? Like
I
but
don't
then he
know.
basically did it without doing it. So I yeah, that was weird.
I
Um
do think that was weird, especially because he was like, "Yeah, it's a platformer, the one that we all like." Like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
what the fuck?
um
But also shout out because I
yeah.
think is this might be the first in their 10 year, at least the Game Awards, the 10 years, not including like the VGX or the VGAs, from like Spike
Mhm.
TV days, but this might be the first platformer to have won.
Oh, that's a good point. Unless you consider It Takes Two
Oh
a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
platformer.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, you
It's
got
I think it's an easy one to forget because it was kind of like a weird like
action
it's
adventure.
not yeah,
Yeah.
it's not yeah. And it's also not a game you would think of as game of the year, right? Like
True.
I often forget that won game of the year.
Yeah. Is there any
Let's
category?
see.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I was gonna ask you if there's any categories you want to call shenanigans. I actually have a couple of categories that I want to call shenanigans. Okay,
All right.
I am not like a big staunch person about this year's best performance, but the
Mm.
fact that Melina Jurgens won and then Jeff Keighley said she's our first two-time winner. Like, fuck you. She should not have gotten it, okay? She's already won the award once, okay? It's like imagine like
See,
Al Pacino. Yeah,
the Oscars did not give a fuck about that though.
imagine if okay, first off, I could be wrong and you can fact check me on this. I don't really care, but I can tell you this. I am reasonably confident that in never has there ever been an Oscar history where someone won an Academy Award for Best Acting, reprised their role in a sequel, and won the award again. That's never happened. There's no way.
Mm.
Like, can you imagine if Al Pacino won for Best Actor for The Godfather Part 1 and then comes back for Part 2 and wins again? That's not happening. No way.
I feel like I don't know about that. I feel like that feels like just something you pulled out of your ass. Like the well, what's the name of that actress? Like Meryl Streep, right? Like she has so many Oscars. Like she
Right.
must have had that.
She's got like so many nominations, but she's only won twice, by the way. And they're
Mm,
not. And generally, I can't think of for the most part. Meryl Streep doesn't do sequels or franchises. They're all like
yeah.
one shot, one movie kind of stuff. She's
Okay.
got like 11, 12 nominations. But yeah,
We're gonna do this right now live on the show. All right. So I
okay,
don't have the answer yet, but I pulled up the list of actors who have won more than once.
okay.
Right. The number one is Katherine Hepburn, who's won it 4 times.
Damn.
Well, the movies that she won it for were Morning Glory, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, The Lion in Winter, and On Golden Pond. So they're all different movies.
Okay.
And then Meryl Streep actually won it 3 times, two as a lead actress and one as a supporting actress. Sophie's Choice, The Iron Lady, and Kramer versus Kramer.
All different
This is
movies,
gonna,
different characters.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is gonna take too long to read, so I'm just gonna like eyeball it. But all these people have won it multiple times, but they seem to be all different movies. We got Jack Nicholson, Ingrid Bergman, Daniel Day-Lewis, Frances McDormand, Walter Brennan, Bet Davis, Spencer Tracy. Okay, hold on.
I mean, like, I think there was like a situation where like it's very rare, but there has been a situation where someone got nominated for a sequel. So
Yeah.
like, I think Johnny Depp might have got nominated for Captain Jack Sparrow twice, but
Mm,
he was definitely not winning. Yeah,
yeah. Going through the list, I don't see any. There's a lot of actors who have won the award twice. I do not see any where they were sequels. Um, there's some that are interesting because like there's an actor called Christoph Waltz who
yeah,
won
Christoph
for
Waltz. Yeah,
yeah, I don't remember him off the top of my oh
he's
that
in.
guy okay
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
He won it for Inglorious Bastards and
uh
then
huh.
he won it again for Django Unchained.
Yeah, so
The
Quentin
supporting
Tarantino's. Yeah, okay.
yeah they're
So
two Tarantino movies but not sequels.
yeah.
All right, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I mean that would be the closest thing, but yeah, they're not. They're two completely different characters in different time periods. But yeah, but the same verbal ticks and stuff like that with
Yeah yeah.
dialogue and stuff. But yeah, no, I want to call shenanigans because I mean, just off of name recognition alone, I probably would have voted for Melina Jurgens, like just point blank
Hmm.
period, but I disqualified her because she'd already won it already. That's
Hmm.
that, and I feel like uh, the Game Awards doesn't have enough acting categories to begin with. I want four of them. They
Yeah
only get one. It's bad enough. I think they should have went out of their way to like give more love to more people to enter that
yeah.
pantheon.
Yeah absolutely absolutely. Uh, so yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. I just she she seemed like the biggest one that was in the biggest narrative like base game, which is why I bet on that. Even though, yeah, it would have been nice to see somebody else be recognized. Um, I think another maybe like kind of surprise was that Metaphor Refantasio like did really well and won multiple awards, won over Final Fantasy for best RPG and stuff like that.
And best
Um,
narrative.
yeah, so it's yeah, it's one to keep an eye on. But other than that, I don't know.
Is there any shenanigans that you want to call?
Not personally, no. I actually think like there's a lot of these games that I didn't play, so I can't like I can't argue whether Final Fantasy VII or Dragon's Dogma 2 are like better than Metaphor when I didn't play any of them, you know.
Fair
But I think
enough.
Astrobot winning Game of the Year did make me happy.
Same.
You know, I'm gonna say one thing. I'm gonna call one shenanigans, which is I wish that they did not have the same indie games competing in the best debut indie and the best indie because Balatro ended up winning both. And I think that often happens where the same game wins both. And I just wish that we could award indie games need more recognition overall. So um yeah, I wish that they could have had different sets of nominees and therefore have awarded two different games.
And the worst part is that because Balacho was nominated for Game of the Year, it was a wrap for everyone else involved.
Yeah.
And I do.
Right?
That's. I will say. I will say. Like the the both of us collectively with these spreadsheets have like sort of figured out the formula for what a Game of
Yeah.
the Year's winners are, and it kind of does take a little bit of the fun out of it because I feel like we were kind of spot on with our methodology, and
Yeah.
I do think that like there should be more of a concerted effort, especially because there's not a lot of categories and you don't really spotlight a lot of categories with people going up and doing acceptance speeches. There should have
Yeah.
been more of a concerted effort to not to try to avoid sweeps, like try to avoid The
Yeah.
Last of Us Part 2 winning like 10 categories or whatever. I think that
Right.
like
Right.
there should be an effort to like really hone in on what does it mean to be a family game. You know what I mean? So, well, what does it mean to be like the best indie or best debut indie or whatever? Like that's it kind of sucks. Yeah, that's
or
just me.
or even when it comes to the particular genres, because like RPG, like just because a game, let's say one game is nominated for Game of the Year and the others are not, um, that should not necessarily make it the best off that genre because it could be a great game that happens to be an RPG, but is it the best representation of what makes an RPG, right? And I think it would be cool if we saw more of that in the genre categories, right? Like best action game should not be which one is nominated for Game of the Year. It should be which is the game that has the best action in it, right? Like the best combat specifically. Because as it stands, if you had an action game that did not have amazing combat but had a great story and audio and art and all these other things, that would, and to the point where it got nominated for Game of the Year, that game would probably win Best Action, even if other nominees maybe had better combat, better action in the game, right?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. Otherwise, let me see here. Let me see if there was any other categories that I beat you out on. I just want to I guess, hone in on that.
There
I
should.
did beat you on best esports game for League of Legends because I voted that one. You voted
Mhm.
Valorant. I thought that was kind of funny that usually you would voted LOL more than me,
Yeah.
more often than not. Um, what else? I don't think I really beat you on anything else other than those two actually, to tell you the truth.
I have perceived Valorant as a game that I hear more about in within my circles nowadays, but at the same time, like League of Legends had Arcane come out, and I feel like that has brought in some new attention to them and stuff. Um, you yeah, mathematically you should have only beat me in two categories given the
Oh yeah,
aggregate
the
with
aggregate. Yeah, you're
my
right. You're
score.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so those are those
So
two.
yeah,
I gotta say that the fact that I voted Mario Jamboree for best multiplayer, I don't know if I Helldivers 2. I want to split that category into two. I want to do best online multiplayer and best local multiplayer because I really don't think that these two things should like coexist in the same category. They're not. It's not a fair fight.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Personally, personally, that's just me. I wanna. I am such an old head. I want to always favor local multiplayer.
Hmm.
So that's gonna be a big
Well,
weakness for me on that one.
see, the thing is, like, if you wanted to do that, maybe you could even drop the best family out and just have like best like local multiplayer and best online multiplayer, because a lot of the like the family games would have been then the I mean, in this case
It was
not,
only one.
but
Yeah, just
yeah.
one.
I feel like there's some categories that are kind of weird, like multiplayer is one of them and family is another one. Um I think sports slash racing is kind of weird too, because they put it together games that are not necessarily comparable. Like how do you compare like FIFA with Forza? You know, like it's yeah, it's there
I,
could definitely be some work on the categories. I agree with you on that.
the sports slash racing. I think it's because there's not enough content to make them into
Yeah,
two separate categories, is my understanding. But yeah.
yeah.
But all right. Any last thoughts about the winners?
No, I'm good,
All
and I
right.
agree with you. I think this is the best game awards.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it. I think I don't really have any other closing thoughts. I'm happy with the winners. I mean, most of our shenanigans were more technical than actual winners, so
Hmm.
that were sort of outside of it. Otherwise, yeah, I think it's about time to wrap up. We're closing in. We went slightly over time, which is not that bad.
Hmm.
I am happy that we got to do this another episode of Ready Press Play and all that good jazz. And I will tell the viewers to keep us followed on the all your feeds. You know, whether it be your podcast feed, we will continue to put content out. Follow us on the one game at a time, the OGAT feed, because we actually already have a pre-recorded OGAT that we have never released, and we will release one of these days.
Do we?
Yeah, we do.
Which one?
We banked something. I know we banked something, by the way.
Okay, okay. I don't
100%.
remember this, but yeah,
We
yeah.
100% did bank something because we did it
Hmm.
shortly after RPP 150.
Hmm.
So, or
Hmm.
just like maybe slightly before. Um, so yeah, we have that going on, and I got secret stash if it ever comes back. Um, and we will definitely come back. 155. We'll slowly get to 200. We will be in our 50s when 200 happens. So just keep listening to us, and
Yeah, yeah.
we'll do updates. Maybe we won't just stick to just Game Awards. Maybe we'll actually, do something actual outside of it, like E3 or
Mhm.
something, or Summer Game Fest.
Yeah. We've talked about doing E3 like for the last 2 years, but it just kind of didn't happen. It's also hard right now because E3 is no longer just like 2 days,
Yeah,
like 2 or 3 days of stuff that you can cover in a week. It's become so spread out. It's like, how do you even do that now?
yeah.
Like, do you do it in September, like after everything's done? But
After the
then
dust
like,
settles. Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
like
You're right.
I don't know.
And we're not so much
Um,
the kind of people that are very timely, as you can tell. We're uploading this on a Wednesday and all, but
yeah,
yeah. Otherwise, just follow me and Dan, and we won't be strangers. We promise.
yeah. See you next time.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye.